how to really create that state of real utter order within, that state of mental clarity. So in case if you are feeling lost at any moment in your life, right? Lost. There is the possibility to start feeling tremendous clarity in a life. And that clarity is happening not just out of the blue. That clarity is happening when we stop moving continuously on the periphery of the circle. We start really being rooted in where we are. And this is a wonderful code which I observed into this card, and the card name is the Knight of Pentacles. So this is the only card which represents the immovable state of the Knight. There are 5 Knights in the tarot deck in general. There are 4 Knights in the court cards, and 1 card, it's the card of death. So what's happening there, they are all moving except only one, and this one is standing. So we want to learn from that position of utter order. This whole position of utter order dissolves that chaos. Do you see? He is not really moving anywhere. He is standing still. So that stillness, in fact, is defining that order which is within him. And we want to observe it based on the following. Let me show you. Whenever you are moving here, you are always on the periphery of the circle. And that periphery makes you more and more anxious, creates that feeling of a lost, creates that anxiety, vicious circle. So we are always attained to the results. We want to achieve results. And that is the attachment to the results. We keep moving. We move. We keep valuing and evaluating what is happening. But we are on the periphery. And that is the periphery of cause and effect. Cause and effect. Now, our goal with you is to be inspired by the elements of this card. Look how he is standing. He is standing still. He is not really walking on this card anywhere. He has the horse, which he can use, and he can walk absolutely everywhere. But he, before doing any action, he is standing still. He figured out something. So when we use the symbolism of this card, we can see that basically he jumped out of the periphery and the circle of continuous movement. We are moving here. Our mind is continuously moving here. So what this guy has done, he jumped out of that circle of continuous movement to the center. He's standing here observing before jumping into the battlefield, before doing any kind of action. So he became the observer, and that observer mode allows him to do the next right action step, to do the right thing and not the erroneous thing. Do you see? When we are moving, speeding up, we stop really seeing. And that's how our eyeballs are actually working. We lose our eyesight literally if the pressure of muscles starts shrinking. Now there is much more pressure here, and the eyeball literally gets pressured, and then we have astigmatism, and then we have either like those problems when we cannot see to the lens, or we start having issues with that crystal, in the crystal here, and we cannot see here in front of us. So there are different issues happening from that pressure or from that dust in the crystal in the eye, which do not allow us to see. But all this happens because of the root cause, continuous movement without standing still. Once we allow ourselves that jump, that leap to the center, in that stillness, when we stand still. In the East, in Buddhism traditions, they stand still. Buddha stands still. And this card actually represents that stillness. Stillness. He is representing as the only card, in fact, there is deep esoteric meaning in that card. It represents that stillness before collecting the harvest. Hard work has been done. Now, before even recollecting the harvest, he sees how to recollect that harvest properly. Not to spill the milk, not to spoil it. Do you see? So when we understand it, we also understand the main code of that order. Patience. Disorder is brought into ours through one simple thing. Whenever our brains through the vagus nerve start really triggering our heart center, and our hearts experience rage, and then our heart center starts being shrunken. Through rage, through wrath, through anger, we actually start shrinking our reality. And then we kind of like want many things here. We want the good, beautiful, and truthful, but in reality, because we keep running on the periphery of it, and it has lots of beliefs and lots of limitations, and it always wants to protect us from some dangers, it provides only one feeling here, the feeling of shrinking energy, the feeling of paralysis, the feeling that we can't move forward, the feeling that our energy is put down. Now, if we look at this card, it provides us the solution for that. Patience. Whenever we are experiencing tremendous anger, irritation, some event happened, right? Some event happened. Now, it triggered the brain, some nervous pathway. It started triggering through vagus nerve our heart center to shrink. Literally, our energy is shrinking. Our whole existence is shrinking. We want to protect. We want to hide from the reality. Now, in that moment, you want to stand still before moving forward. And that is the code which we observe in this card, that stillness, that patience. Patience is the antidote to wrath, to anger, to irritation. The emotion length, literally on a physical level, any emotion length is around few minutes. So just like 10, 15 minutes, you can read about that in Google. So patience is an important factor. So in a moment you feel some unpleasantness here, you want to stand still, take your journal, any kind of journal. I, for example, have this journal, like literally amazing journal, which I use to bring some femininity into my life, you know. So I use this one, and then I write down the technique of 5 whys. Why do I feel that way right now? I don't go and start really being angry with that person, trying to crush anything. I know I have to be patient. And I know my standard now is pleasantness. It's just like, Yulia, how can you be pleasant in this crazy world? You know what? This guy is teaching us pleasantness is possible through patience. Now, I show you that technique, how to attain that pleasantness. If you raise your standard to feeling that pleasantness, no matter what happens around you on the periphery of this life, no matter what happens around you, you will see one thing. Your standard triggers you now to take that damn journal and ask those 5 questions. Why do I feel that way? Well, because it immediately spits out that poison, okay? So the snake which is hidden here, that neural pathway, it spits out that poison. Well, because, because of that, and that. And then you ask yourself a question. Why that and that and that? And then it's just like, again, spits out something. And then you ask again, why, and why? And there is that, You started from in here, that ladder of 5 whys, until you go to the root cause. You go to the root cause of why it really happened. And guess what? While you are doing that 5 why technique, in your journaling, being that in that irritative state, before acting, guess what truly happened? What truly happened here is that you intentionally moved from the charged periphery of negativity, of unpleasant sensation in your heart, you move to the center. And the center is called reflection. Those 5 wise questions are the reflective practice which you can use truly in your daily life, being inspired by the code of this card, deep esoteric code, which is called I can handle all irritation here, and I embrace it, but I handle it through my reflection. This is how I activate all the power within my willpower center, my solar plexus. Willfully, I reconnect with my solar plexus. I take that journal and I start that 5 whys technique. And patiently, I start rebuilding myself to that pleasantness mode. By the way, if you love this video, give me a thumbs up. I do those lives here and there on a weekly basis, and I will keep doing them. So if you don't want to miss them, subscribe to the channel as well. Now, you will see an interesting effect here, guys. In the beginning, you will have that time of registration, that unpleasantness. There will be some timing before you noticed it and when it noticed. So it happened, the unpleasant event happened, and then you started feeling unpleasant, but you became aware only here. Now with time, by practicing that 5 whys journaling technique, you will see that the timing between the moment of start and the registration, when you are aware that this unpleasant feeling is here, you will notice it's shrinking. It's shrinking until it will be shrinking to a few seconds. That's how I trained myself to really embody the code of patience from this card and stop being lost. Because you can be lost, you can be fearful only if you are running on the periphery of these worldly events. When you are in the center, sitting still, if you are capable to get there, with this technique of 5 whys, you will see that you will start seeing much more clear. Much more clearly you will start seeing, and if you see much more clearly, guess what's happening next? You can take much more informed decisions. You can enlarge the resources which you can use to really resolve any situation. Because guess what? Let me show you something. If you are running on the periphery of the circle, the angle through which you see your reality may be quite narrow, because that circle will define what you see. Your goal is to keep moving forward in the center, and from that center, start enlarging the angle of how much you see. Because this angle and this one, they are different. You want to enlarge this angle. You want to make it bigger. The bigger you want to see the possibilities. That's actually the foundation for building the abundance flow. To see more. To see more in life. To be much more resourceful, it means you start seeing more, activating this third eye chakra. All right? And it's a real thing, and you can do it. Why? Because it's available to absolutely everyone. It's just a set of practices which you keep on doing. So if you just watch me first time, You may subscribe to my channel. I can continuously speak about those practices, how you can really recollect yourself back to the center if you don't want to miss those videos. So again, let's get back to this card. Look at this. When you are in that center, you can see what's available to you. Do you see? He has all these goodies in front of him. He can recollect it. He's not feeling a lack. He stands still, and this defines his next right step. And that's what's truly happening as a logical continuation of that jump, of that leap from the periphery to the center. And that is the utter dedication and devotion to that centeredness. And this card prepares us to that wealthy mindset. Wealthy mindset, not the mindset of a rabbit who continuously just jumps all the time. No, not the mindset of a monkey. In India, they call it Markata mindset. No, we want Buddha mindset, okay? And Buddha, sit still. Sit still. It's not jumping all around. He sits still, but at the same time, he's extremely active. So you become like that active Buddha in action, right? So active Buddha. And it really works. Yes, solitary, it really works that way. I have been practicing it so many times. And in the beginning, I was actually really visiting so many manifestation classes, just more than 10 years ago. I just really wanted to recollect my life from pieces, but I couldn't understand one simple thing. You can move so many things here, jump, jump, jump. You can watch so many courses, but if you don't sit still and you don't really do that practice of bringing yourself back to that stillness, and I already showed you in this video how to do that jump in an instant. So for those of you who just watched me first time and you just connected now, just roll it back to the beginning. You will see that technique. It's extremely powerful. And by the way, give me a thumbs up if you love this video. Subscribe to the channel. I go live here regularly. Not every day though, but if you don't want to miss out the videos like that, just make sure that you are here in the channel as well. So again, I get back to that point that when you start seeing more, you build a strong foundation for abundance flow. Abundance flow as a foundation, and abundance flow starts from resourcefulness. And you see those resources if you clear out this space. You cannot see many things if you are jumping on the periphery. You only see this part. And I will promise you why it is possible that way. This card has a strong influence, in fact, from the Wheel of Fortune. Let's observe it together. Let's observe it together. Your destiny can be shaped differently than what is predesigned to you by these celestial movements. Okay? I've been studying my human design and astrology. I'm very proficient there. However, once you jump out from the sided circle to the center, you become like that Sphinx. You start living a different life. All right, a different way of living. That is called a service-based living, when you start really serving this world truly, touching hearts of people, speaking to life, holding that life, and really empowering this life. You become that vital voice of this creation. Nothing can be really fearful for you, because all the fears are on the periphery again. All the fears are on the periphery. And when you are on the periphery, you can see only one part of the circle. You are defined by that part. You start being defined by all the celestial movements. Just like here in the Wheel of Fortune, you will see how these beings are formed and shaped, like this angel, this bird, this bull and this bull and this lion. So they actually read the story of that part of the circle which they are seeing. So they only see everything under one angle. Do you see it? If I see it under one angle, what's happening in reality, I read the story of that angle. That's why here there are even those, generational patterns. And there are even certain movements of celestial bodies. Those who study astrology, they know what I'm talking about. When even that body defines the whole generational patterns which we collectively must overlive here. Okay, why? Because the circle moved. Now you can jump out of those generational patterns, okay? You can absolutely jump out of it. How? It is more than possible if you become focused on that stillness and that center. Here we are moving on the periphery of the circle. Everything is changing, everything is moving. We are deeply involved into all the desires of the world, and we are shaped by all the mental constructs which were literally imposed into us by our education, by our countries, by our families, by our close surrounding. All right? Now we are living literally the story which was imposed here. We are not really living something what was designed for us by that thing which is divinity. And we feel like locked here. We feel like locked. Well, of course you feel locked because you read only part of that circle. Now, in the East, Buddha is sitting always nearby the circle. And let me wow you now. Just if you are here, you will be mesmerized, okay? So the real transformation is approaching to you guys. By the way, if you love the reading, give me thumbs up because this defines if I show up for you here. If you provide me more support, I see you love it. So subscribe also to the channel if you want to see those videos more. All right, so let's continue. So that circle, the Wheel of Fortune, which we were describing now, guess what's happening? That circle has the center and has its periphery, and it has also these strings, right? It has these strings. Does this circle define you also the time? Okay? It all actually shapes this physical matrix. Now, let's look at it in one perspective. In any moment of time, and let's see, this is, let's say, the time. If the time we define as the middle of that circle, the time, and why I define the time as the middle of the circle? I was studying ancient Indian traditions, and they even do not acknowledge space. They acknowledge the first counting thing as the time. So the time moving it all, Kronos, the god of time, is moving it all, circling it all. It all started from time. So we are living in a time-space reality, but time goes beyond even space. Okay? Now, look what's happening. At any moment of time, there are multiple things which can happen. The multiple potentialities which can happen. But guess how your reality is shaped here? Your reality here is shaped with one single thing. At certain moment of time, certain event happened. Certain event happened. Now you are aware of only one event, which is the story which happened at that time. But guess what? It's not possible that at the same time, all the events will happen in your life. You can only do one step at a time because you have two legs. You cannot do freaking 100 steps in a time. If you start climbing the ladder, you can only do certain amount of steps in a time. So that space, that amount of steps, it is only one singular thing. And if we define that singular event here, I want to tell you now the secret to all your liberation. The time here happened, and the event here happened. Now, this thing was the only thing which you observed. Based on it, guess what happened? You started shaping the mental construct of your reality. So it was the conclusion, the box, okay, the box, and it says, if then. Now, can I question, if we get back to the time-space reality when it happened, could something else happen? And let me give you the example. Look how many other things could have happened in the same time-space reality. For example, what if you step instead of forward with your legs on that ladder, you would step backwards? Could it be? But you stepped forward. Now it defined your mental construct. Now you start living based on that box here. Okay? This is how the boxing is shaped. This is how the story is shaped. This is what all the powerful people here are using to create brands, okay? Because stories is an amazing thing to reunite people. But I want you to become unbranded. I want you to go to the center here and to become your own guru. And you can do it once you really become like that sphinx. You see, like that Egyptian sphinx. You jump out of the center to that, out of the periphery, to that center. To that center. And that's what defines the enlarging of possibilities into your life. You do not need to actually go to those countless manifestation practices. You become that manifesting possibility yourself. You become like that Egyptian sphinx here, like sitting here. Do you see? Watching all the possibilities of this will. If you see all the possibilities, you become conscious on picking one. And that one will be the most righteous one. If you see, you just do it. You don't need to figure out stuff. You just need to see. That's why Wheel of Fortune stops being like Las Vegas, right? When you just play and you just either win or lose. You cannot lose, okay? You just win, win, win. That's how it's happening. Because you start seeing. You see and you do. In fact, to manifest things here is extremely easy because you become aware. It's the light of awareness. But in order to get there, you need to use the codes of the Knight of Pentacles. And the code of this card is patience. Use that technique of 5 whys. Those of you who just connected to this video, roll it back. Roll it back. I explained how to use this technique, how to really jump out from the periphery of all this anxiety to stillness in your heart. It's very easy. It doesn't take much time, but it's extremely effective, all right? So I really recommend all of you to just be aware of it. You know, whenever we start acquiring any kind of new skill here, what's happening truly, we become like that. We want to take more. What if we will not, we will lose it, whatever. No, real masters only train one skill at a time. Okay? They are patient. They are so-called slow. But in reality, they are extremely high speedy. Why? Because they see it all. They see it all the potentialities and possibilities. They are not busy with reading the book of only one angle. If you read the book of only one angle of the circle, you are always limited, okay? If you are striving to see from that stillness and center, there are no limitations. You just pick the right solution. Then you are not living based on questions. You are living based on that seership. And I know what I'm talking about because I'm coming initially from Siberia, and one of the most amazing practices which shamans are practicing there, it's the shape shifting. Literally, you shift the shape of your life. You shift the shape of your mental constructs. How is that? And I know it all because it's in my blood. It's literally that thing was surrounding me from childhood. And now I am here to bridge it from that reality to absolutely everyone who has ears to hear and eyes to see. If you are willing to shift your reality instantly, you can do it if you just will to do it. You are willing to do it. It's opening you up to that shape shifting already, like the blooming flower, like the lotus starts opening up here in your heart. And that's truly how you invite that abundance flow. Okay? Now, I changed many things in my life. I was completely broke, sleeping in the train station, not having food and apartment. And my heart was broken into crumbles. Now I'm happily married more than 10 years. I built 2 successful businesses. I continuously consult in other businesses in marketing and sales, not salesy techniques, but noble, value-based things. We want to do it based on value, not based on, hey, I impose you something. That's not how you do things here. You serve the world. And the world is greeting you back. And there is power into that because you truly enlarge the capabilities of people around you. People are worth investing so much time and efforts of yours. Once you become a true servant of life, you always serve people. That's why I opened this channel, to serve the spreading of this light and awareness. To serve it so that those who have ears to hear, eyes to see, that all of you could really take a glimpse of it. And if you are willing to, I urge you to start developing in this direction. If you loved this message, give me thumbs up. Subscribe also to this channel. I go regularly here, not every day, but regularly. So if you don't want to miss it out, I would highly recommend to subscribe to stay in tuned. Okay? So again, I am here for you. If you have any more questions, let me check if you have them. All right. So I don't see any questions here, but if you have, type me here in the comments and I will be here for you clarifying those confusions. Thank you so much. Wishing you a lovely evening.